What's up, everybody? This is KJ, and I'm here to give you a team builder for a new league that I'm in, the UGL United Galler League. This is a league that Polo, Rick, and I started not too long ago. It is a Wi-Fi league, so all of the games will be played on the Switch instead of on Showdown. However, all of my team builders are going to be done on Showdown. So before I jump into the team, I do want to give a few shout outs as well as just point you to the draft analysis slash recap that Polo, Shaded, Rick, Nintago, and I did last weekend. So you get to see all of the teams and hear us sort of break down what we think are the good aspects of the team and what we think are the bad aspects of the different teams. So yeah, that'll be really cool. I'm going to leave that in the description below. I'm also going to leave the description below the link to Rick's channel, who will be actively recording for this, Primal, who I've mentioned a few times, and he'll actively be recording for this league as well. And then I'm also going to leave Shaded's YouTube link. He might not be recording for the league, or at least I don't think he is, but he puts out pretty good content doing like analysis of different Pokemon. I think he's done Quagsire, and I know he's done Torkoal so far. So, yeah, his content is definitely entertaining, so go take a look at his content. I'm also going to leave Polo's Twitch link in the description. Polo's been actively streaming. And one other sort of thing that I want to plug is this Couch Pilot Games YouTube link. And so this is a group of people that do Draft League, but also just do other content. And I found them on Facebook. I wanted to. We were actively trying to recruit for UGL, and so I reached out to one of the admins on their Facebook group and was like, "Hey, do you guys mind if I sort of try to plug in your group?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, as long as you kind of give us a shout on your channel." So I'm actually gonna have their YouTube link and the description, and I will be leaving that there for all of my videos for UGL. So again, please take a look. I've watched a couple of their videos, really cool stuff. So yeah. So now I think I want to jump into the actual team. So just as a heads up, I'm going to give you my team for this video, just in case you haven't watched the draft recap, and then I'll give you Shaded's team because that's what I'm playing this week. So we got Urshifu single, which was awesome because it was a mon I really wanted to use. Wicked Blow is banned, so that's something to just keep in mind throughout the entirety of this season. Got Skarmory, Primarina, Porygon 2, Lichen Rock Dusk, Druddigon, Chandelure, Rotom Fan, Claydol, Iselgor, and Blossom. So the team looked a little different when I first drafted it, but I was able to sort of maneuver into a trade with Polo for Chandelure during the grace period, so that was cool. Again, another mon I really wanted to use. And I think the team in general is really interesting. It's a mix of mons that I've not used, and a mix of mons that I have used. Obviously, those of you that followed my TBA season, you know that the MVP Porygon 2 is back. I did not do any recording for ISL Season 2, however, I had Primarina there, and it was my kill leader, so really excited about that. Rotom Fan is an interesting mon because I've had most of the other Rotom forms. Like I've used Rotom Mo. I'm actually in the middle of using Rotom Mo as well in NPAA. I've used Rotom Heat. I've used Rotom Wash. I haven't used Rotom Fan, and I've used the base Rotom. So Rotom Fan and Rotom Frost are the only two Rotoms that I haven't used in draft yet. So really excited for that. I do have Druddigon in ISL Season 3, so that's sort of a returning member. Lichen Rock Dusk with the DLC moves that it's gotten is very interesting, so really excited about that. And then I think, or I've also used Claydol in ISL Season 2, and then Iselgor and Blossom, I think, and Skarmory are mons that are going to provide very interesting utility for the team, with stuff like hazards and Blossom getting access to things like Strength Sap and whatnot. So I'm really excited about this team. I think it's a little a little different than what I'm used to, but not a ton. So I'm really interested. I'm also really excited to do a Wi-Fi league. This is gonna be a ton of fun. So that's my team. And then I want to get into Shaded's team. So Shaded originally was going to go with like a hyper offensive Clef team, but he decided to go Rain afterwards, like in the grace period. He dropped, I think, 3 or 4 mons and picked up some Rain Mons. So really not looking forward to battling this. He's got one of the Mons that he's got is really, really difficult to deal with in limited format in Azumarill. So that's going to be kind of a pain, especially because it gets to +6, and even Banded is like Banded Huge Power is a pain, but see what happens. He also has Rotom Heat, which everyone that has watched my content and sort of talked to me in the draft community knows that if I don't have Rotom Heat, it's typically a Mon that gives me a lot of trouble because it has such a good matchup against my teams for some reason. But yeah, so need to figure out a way to stop Rotom Heat, and then he's got Scolipede, Pelipper as his Rain Setter, Doublade, Dragalge, Rhyperior, Shuckle, Poliwrath, Sigilyph, and Morgrem. So pretty scary Rain team. Doesn't necessarily have to operate in Rain, and in this particular matchup, I don't really expect him to bring Rain. Being completely honest, like if he brings Rain, then I think he's gonna hard commit to it with Azu and Poliwrath, which, I mean, if I can sort of position myself in a good way, I don't think that does a ton of damage to me. So, yeah, and one other thing, or two other things I want to call out. Did rebrand, so we are using the Cleveland and Didi's logo. And the other thing is that all of my nicknames this season will be Final Fantasy IX themed. So if you do not know any of the characters, please go check it out. It's a great game. Came out in the late 90s. Late 90s or very, very early 2000. Maybe like 2000 on the dot. But great game. Favorite of mine. So I saw opportunity and decided that I was going to go for it. So, all right. So now it's time to get into the actual team. So here, all of the Mons are set to level 50 because that's what they'll be set to in game. So if things look a little off, that's why. So going first, we have the Primarina, running Expert Belt, and the thing is, Moonblast, Energy Ball, Scald hits all of his team incredibly hard outside of the Dragalge. And even I mean, it doesn't hit the outside of the Dragalge and the Sigilyph, I believe. Like, Doublade does not want to take 2 Scalds and risk the chance of Scald Burn. Scolipede doesn't really want to risk the chance of Scald Burn, and like 2 Scalds from Primarina are gonna hurt. Obviously, Rotom Heat. We've got the Energy Ball for the Azu, and he could be Sap Sipper Azu, so that is something that we're gonna have to make sure is not the case. But we'll see what happens. And then yeah, everything else gets hit pretty hard. So the idea here is set up Primarina late game to kind of come in and get kills. And if I'm put into a position where I need to break early with Primarina, then the other member of the team the other members that are here to sort of clean up are the Lichen Rock and the Urshifu Single Strike. So yeah, Primarina, again, something I'm very comfortable with. We do have the defense investment and the HP investment to live a Poison Jab from the Scolipede, so that's good. But we'll see what happens. The next thing we got is Skarmory, and so Skarmory is here kind of to help deal with the Azu, but also it can do pretty well against the Dragalge. So Dual Wing Beat hits that, and it's not hitting it super hard, but we can roost off the damage, and Dragalge doesn't have the ability to recover, so that's really good. Also, Stealth Rocks and Whirlwind are great, so there's that. And the fact that we're boots with Sturdy means that we'll come in on any potential hazards, and absolute worst case, if he is +6 with Azu, obviously we're going to sack something, which is unfortunate, but we then click Whirlwind, he gets the attack off to knock us down to Sturdy, and then we just Whirlwind the Azu out. So that's something I'm really hoping works out. Did decide because of the 1v1 matchup against the Dragalge, I did decide that Roost was better than Defog. That's something I was sort of up and down, back and forth on, but yeah, I figured Roost for being able to heal up and is probably better. And I did really want to go with a counter set, but I decided not to, just because it's not super consistent. And the problem is, if he does end up not bringing Azu, then that would have just been a complete utter crapshoot. So, and the other thing is, like with Poliwrath, he's going to probably be clicking Waterfall, and so if we get if he's in rain, he's clicking Waterfall, and we get flinched, like counter doesn't do anything to that. And the only other huge threat for the Skarmory is the Rotom Heat, and so yeah, I just wanted to kind of have consistency with Skarmory, and honestly, I'll trade not getting swept by Azu for Skarmory, or for the Sturdy on Skarmory. So, yeah. To the next mon, we got the Lichen Rock Dusk. So, running Excel Rock, also running Drill Run. Excel Rock, Drill Run hits most of his team. I think he has 4 ground weaknesses, or 3 or 4 ground weaknesses, and like 5 rock weaknesses. So, like, I think that having Lichen Rock here, having it sashed, and also having the Endeavor tech is really good. If we get in a situation where there's no hazards and I need to click Swords Dance to pick up kills, I can, and then he breaks the sash, and then Lichen Rock is EV to be faster than out of the Rotom Heat. I don't really see him bringing Sigilyph here, especially because I have the Urshifu, and that's doing huge damage, especially because it gets Darkest Lariat, so not really worried about him with his potential cosmic power shenanigans with Sigilyph. I don't see it coming, so yeah, the only thing, I EV'd this to outspeed the Rotom Heat regularly, especially because one of the things Rotom Heat might want to do is get a Toxic off or get a Will-O-Wisp off, so kind of just trying to keep that in mind when we go from there. So yeah, this set, I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to use Lichen Rock Dusk in general. It's a really cool mon. I've seen a few people do really well with it in draft, and so I thought with the coverage that it got, that the picking it in limited format would be really good. So, all right, now we got the Porygon 2, and funny because I felt like all of the nicknames sort of fit to this point, but the reason why I picked Porygon 2 is actually because, or the reason I picked Blank for Porygon 2 is because Blank is actually one of my favorite characters from the Final Fantasy IX game. Cool character. I don't want to spoil anything, but go play the game. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, so Porygon 2, we're actually Trace this week, and so the reason that I decided to be Trace is because he has a lot of abilities that could be really useful, and so obviously using Trace for being able to figure out if he's Huge Power or Sap Sipper is kind of the biggest reason I'm bringing Trace. But if I do end up tracing something like Solid Rock on Rhyperior, or Prankster on Morgrim, or Swift Swim on Poliwrath, or sort of any of that, I mean, Adaptability on Dragalge would be interesting. What else? Speed Boost on Scolipede, Levitate on Rotom. So any of those things, like, I feel like those would be pretty solid. So I'm really interested in that. I am running basically 3 coverage moves and then Pain Split. I decided on Pain Split just because I wanted to be able to chip things such as the Rhyperior. So if he does bring Rhyperior in, I feel like that's kind of like a free setup, especially if he realizes that I don't have Ice Beam. So between Rhyperior and also Rotom, I think if I'm sort of chipped away a lot, I can Pain Split and take some HP from the Rotom. So yeah, I think that is pretty much that. For Porygon, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's going to be running Eviolite most weeks, just to be incredibly bulky. And it does also, with Eviolite, live hits from, depending on the moves that he's clicking, live hits from the Azu. I was shocked to see that it lived, like, Banded Superpower from Huge Power Azu, but that was a cool calc. Anyway, let's go to the next mon. So we have Life Orb Urshifu, Single Strike, Close Combat, Poison Jab, U-Turn, Darkest Lariat. Pretty self-explanatory. The 2 stabs, Close Combat and Darkest Lariat, are going to be doing big damage to most things, unless they're resisted. The Poison Jab is going to be doing a lot of damage to Azu as well as the Morgrim. And then with U-Turn to basically pivot out. This might be my lead. I'm not sure. I need to see how much it does to Azu. But I need to remember how much it does to Azu, rather. But I think if we can sort of whittle away the Azumarill, then we're in a very good spot. Outside of that, I'll probably, if I do end up leading this, it'll probably just be used as a pivot for then, and then it'll have the opportunity to break something later on, so that'll be good. And then for the last mon, we have the Druddigon. I did go with continuing the Final Fantasy IX theme, but I really wanted to name this thing Rick, and anyone that was in TBA or watch, or I don't know if I made too much of a reference to it, but anyone that was in TBA or has been in like voice calls with us or anything knows that Rick took over a team in TBA that was 1-4, and then made it to the quarterfinals of playoffs. And he did it with a Druddigon superior Paraflinch core, I'll call it, because he had Druddigon superior for glare support. He also had Jirachi, which he took from us, thank goodness, because we got Kartana out of it, and that was huge for us. But he took that, and yeah, so it was Druddigon, Jirachi, Superior, and Mega Gyarados, and he basically just glared and flinched things, and it was very, very stressful for people. But I mean, he joined a league that was a 20-person league and picked from the scraps, and sure enough, made the playoffs, so can't fault him on that. But anyway, back to the Druddigon set that we're bringing. So we're EV'd to outspeed No Speed Pelipper, which and kill it with a Thunder Punch. We are Mold Breakers, that we can use Earthquake to hit the Rotom Heat. Roar for potentially the Azu, and then Glare to slow things down, such as the Scolipede or the Poliwrath. And I do want to give a shout out to Nintago for the set. I was talking, and originally I had Rotom Fan, and it was a sort of a nasty plot like setup, and he was just like, Druddigon kind of puts in work here. And I was like, okay, like, what are you thinking? And we started talking through it, and he like mostly came up with this, and I was like, okay, let me optimize the EVs to make sure that they're good for level 50. And we were talking, and I don't know, I was like, okay, I really like this. So I think this is going to be a solid member of the team, especially if Shaded does go with the Belly Drum variant of Azu, because he's already taking Chip, and then if he does do something like Aqua Jet, this comes in, and yeah, I think it'll be solid. So we'll be playing sometime later on today, and then I will be posting the video. It'll be a live com video instead of my normal post com videos. That will be up probably sometime tomorrow. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this, please press the like button, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video for the match. Alright, thanks. Peace.